Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at my build for the Zenkai Trunks and Mai and see just how good they are. Now, I don't unfortunately have a nice Zenkai boost unit for these guys, but I still think they do pretty well. They are more a support based unit as they always have been. But I think their Zenkai is pretty good. They have a 30% chance to inflict heavy bleed on their strike. In terms of their super attack, it's all relatively straightforward stuff, but major explode damage, plus 25% to damage inflicted by allies, so you can see that kind of setup there. They're very good as a setup unit. You know, they really do beef up the rest of the team. They restore their own health, they give themselves ki back, they also increase their special move and ultimate move damage, which is all really good. And you know, not to say that they're bad on their own, but they really are more for setting up the rest of the team. You can see there that their ultimate does some pretty good damage. It also restores their vanishing gauge, so it's actually a really nice ability to kind of combo into, because it'll allow you to restore your vanishing gauge. So if you can bait out the enemy, vanish, then hit them with a main, you can immediately vanish afterwards as well. Then, of course, we have their Z ability, which is Tag Vegeta or Future, which is good, and their Zenkai ability, which is Red and Vegeta Clan, which is also nice. Notable Red Vegeta Clan units. Units like Martian Vegeta, Sparking Martian Vegeta, etc. Pretty decent Vegeta Clan units, although nothing else too crazy. There is the Zenkai Trunks, who now, with the advent of the ultimate equipment for Sparking units, could get a good piece of equipment. But yeah, that's basically it. But the rest of their kit's really nice as well. Lots of support-based abilities. You know that they do have, they increase the damage of Vegeta or Future clan units every time they hit a strike card, which is really good. They basically give themselves damage reduction as well, depending on how long or how many timer counts have passed since the start of the battle. They will also increase the damage of their allies as well, which is always pretty good, and obviously reduce their own arts card costs, which is pretty nice. And yeah, just in general, they have a really good support based build. They're not pure support, they can do some decent damage themselves, but they're really nice to combo if you've got some strong, you know, Vegeta Clan family members or Future family members that you really just want to kind of beef around them. Great for, you know, just kind of having as a beefing option. Maybe you just want someone to hang out there, kind of beef up the rest of your units to just jump in and do massive damage. These guys are really good in that sense. So yeah, really solid, and again a whole bunch of buffs depending on what units are in their team. Now, equipment wise, the equipment they have is, I would put on the decent side. I think, you know, they've got a lot of nice future equipment, which is really good, obviously as well. And I think in general the equipment they have is decent. I would say there's definitely better equipment out there. Would love to hear some people's builds, but I think in general this is just a good place to start. I think this is, you know, just kind of a good area to be in and to start with. So I think in general it's this is a solid foundation in terms of gear, but again it's just going to depend on really what you want to do. More health is always advisable, so if you can do that, obviously prioritize that. Now I'm obviously going to go quickly Zenkai these guys, Zenkai boost them fully, and then obviously we'll come back and do some matches. Now in terms of their best team, obviously because they gain a whole bunch of benefits based on Vegeta and Future units, or sorry, Vegeta Clan and Future units and Hybrid Saiyans, etc., it would be advisable to have you know, Trunks is on the team. I think that's, you know, something not that I would say, you know, is mandatory, but I would say is definitely advisable, because you are then going to get the best performance out of them. Now, not every member of the team has to be that, and just having one Trunks does fulfill a lot of these. Just having one Vegeta from the Future Saga fulfills a lot of these. So you don't have to have all of them to make them mandatory, but obviously you can if you want to. Now, in general, I would just say that they're a pretty ease of use unit. There's not too much to do except for keeping them alive and having them provide those buffs to the rest of the team. The only thing to be aware of is getting their ultimate skill or their special skill will increase the damage of the rest of your team. So obviously from that sense, once you hit the special skill, you are probably going to want to switch out to the unit you want to do increased damage with. At least that's what I can suggest. Now, in terms of the rest of the team, I would probably say that they have some decent Zenkai boost options, but they only really have one in terms of like proper Zenkai boosts. It's the red Trunks, and he's okay. You can definitely obviously use him to fulfill a lot of sections for them, but he himself is not that great. So I am running him, but he is literally unusable in his current state. So you're not really using him, you're basically just using him as a boost option. And he's one of the older units that doesn't have a 2 boost Z ability, so that also does kind of hinder him as well. So there is that to kind of consider, but beyond that I wouldn't say there's anything too crazy. Now obviously them being a future unit means they are on a relatively strong team. They actually do have some pretty strong units. Trunks and Vegeta have gotten substantially stronger as a yellow unit. Unfortunately I don't have them, but they have got substantially stronger as a yellow unit because of the fact that they've got some really good options, like this Trunks of Mai, like the Fierce Fight Trunks, etc. So they're growing in the meta. Obviously Goku Black is on the future team. Goku Rose is on the future team, I should say, so that also helps. But in general, Future's always in a decent place. So they do have a solid position on that team. So if you just want to use them, like I said, as kind of a buffing unit for even Goku Rose, it's very simple to just kind of have them do that. You don't need to do too much else to make them work in that capacity. You can, of course, cater to them a bit more, but I don't really think it's necessary. At least I don't tend to find it to be necessary. But again, the way the meta is inclined right now, it's always going to be difficult for them to exist as a unit. Like, there's so many strong ultras and just units in general that are just so strong and do so much in terms of like teams and setups and builds. I mean, everyone can run 3 Legends Limited lineups with 14 different variants of ultras. It's very, it's very, very intense. So it is difficult for even sparking units with their Zenkais to hold ground. I think that's why they brought out the unique equipments for sparking units. I think it was very clear, very apparent that sparking units were just not enough on their own, even with Zenkais. They're just getting crushed in the meta. Now obviously you can still use them. This isn't to say that they're terrible. I think they're on the good side actually of sparking metas, but I just think that there is that they're not going to carry you. They're not going to be an outright carry beast unit, but they can help you out if you've got them. I would definitely suggest Zenkaiing them. They are great for a Trunks or a future team. They're great for a Vegeta's clan team. They're great in general. They have a usability. They have a place where they belong. It's just that it's not necessarily like that place that they belong is maybe not necessarily at the front of the meta, but they are still definitely a very, very good unit, and they are a hell of a lot of fun to use, and I think they really can be a good support, helpful unit that can really get you going. But yeah, I think that's basically everything I need to cover about them. I think we have one more match here, but it's really against just a terrible, terrible team, so I don't really foresee it being that crazy. Yeah, it's just a terrible team. So Trunks Mai, I think, exceptional unit. Just unfortunate that the current meta is so oppressive, and there's a lot of direct counters to them. They do augment the rest of your team, so there's always a place for them. I think a strong Vegeta's clan team and bringing them as the third option to maybe the Vegeta and the Trunks unit, is a good kind of call to make. especially if you're going to run a couple blast units or anything like that. These guys can still really augment your damage. They can hold out decently, they're decently tanky, they provide some buffs to you as well. So just in general, some good stuff. Some really solid stuff. But yeah, I would say Trunks and Mai, good. If I could change anything, just the fact that they're sparking, really, and the fact that the Trunks side of the future meta is not as strong as it needs to be. It's not that it's weak, it's just not as strong as it needs to be. So they're still a very solid unit, and I've got no problem with them in general. But yeah, I think, when we talk metas, their teams maybe not fully up there, but I do find them to be a lot of fun to use, and they still do some really good damage as well, alongside them providing some good support for the rest of the team. As these timer counters drop down, they will progressively beef up the rest of the team. They can self-service themselves with heals, and yeah, in general they just are a solid unit. I think there is room and capacity for them. I think if this LF Trunks gets a if he can get a LF equipment, I think there's room. I think we can start really talking about a super strong team. And yeah, I think there is space for them to grow. So I am super excited to see where they end up, and I think in general, I'm super excited to see what happens with them as a unit. So, but yeah, I think they're good, solid support, great abilities, good setup for the rest of the team. So yeah, just if you do have them, enjoy using them, and you should have a pretty decent time. Overall, I think they're just, solid. And yeah, I like them a lot. Also, by the way, Trunks and Mai, greatest couple in the game. Questionable, I guess. But yeah, definitely a lot of fun to use, and a unit you should definitely Zenkai. Especially if you're a fan of Trunks or you want to run a Vegeta's clan team, you'll always find these guys usable to some extent, even just as a red unit to counter any yellow meta. I think they are on the solid side. But yeah, that is basically going to be it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, obviously, leave a like. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, take care, stay safe, and as always, see you guys next time. Bye.